Hello everyone, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day and making some really good trades as per usual. And let's dive right into the analysis today. A very big news announcement from the Federal Reserve, and the markets gave away in panic. Obviously, as you guys can probably tell, the markets were a bloodbath today. The SPY down 1.63%, the triple Qs down 1.96%, and the IWM down 2.44. Now we're going to have to do some analysis and see what is going on here in these markets. And we'll start off with the SPY. As you guys probably know, we've been following this 1212 count. Now, if we are going to find support, it would be right around the 480 level to the 478 level, right? And after that, this market should be supported, and we should continue to float higher. But however, we cannot discount a potentially bigger bearish scenario in play here, which is this big sell area that I have on this wave X top here, and then it come back down in a very big dramatic C leg. However, this has not played out correctly. We've had to recount this many times for the bearish scenario, but since this is such a big down day, we can explore the possibilities, because a lot of people are probably going to be panicking today after this drop. Panic selling did go up today, but not to the point where it's going to be a 100% buying opportunity like it was down here. But it is starting to pick up dramatically in just one day. So it just tells you how fragile investors are, how easily shaken out they are. Google earnings obviously did not help at all. Google down today about 7.5%, or actually 7.5% exactly, down a little bit more in the after hours. So a very big down day on earnings. Meta, also another big down day as well. Microsoft, Apple. Apple actually down 1.94%, so it really looks like we are in this wave 3, unfortunately, for Apple. So this is a bearish scenario playing out for Apple, and if it is the case that it's gonna play out the entirety of the move, then we should come back down to the 159 level. But I think that given where the markets are at the moment, we might not get there 100%. It could take quite a bit of time. NVDA pulling back as well, and then Tesla coming down in this this ABC correction, and should finish up right around the 167 to 175 level. Right now, it looks like it's potentially about to complete wave 4 here, and if we could have even counted it right here as an ABC like this, and it's already finished. But I would like one leg higher, but given the severity of the pullback today, I'm not so sure it's gonna happen. But we'll have to see, right? We'll have to see. Let's get on to some more individual names here, and I'll actually take a look at Wave Edge on the SPY actually before I continue doing that. So looking at the daily, we actually had overbought conditions signaling on Wave Edge X here, 2 red dots and a white dot here on WTX. And on the 4-hour time frame, again, we've been getting a lot of significant selling here along the entire run up, and near this high, we were getting a lot of dark pool trades on the leverage ETFs, the triple leverage, the biggest trades since inception, which is really it's significant. The biggest trade since inception. That means since these ETFs were created, SPXU, right? Or sorry, not SPXU, UPRO, right? The biggest trade since inception, which means since this ETF was created, which we would have to go back a fair amount. We'd have to go back on the weekly, all the way to here, back in 2009. So since these ETFs were created, you've had the biggest trade now in the last week or last couple of weeks, signaling that we could potentially get a very big sell-off, and that's exactly what's happening right now. We'll take it day by day. I know there's a lot of people who are probably worried right now with these markets going down. It's been something we've been covering too, the possibility of us going lower, but we'll get more into that in just a bit. let's actually continue with the individual names. We'll take a look at Roku here. Roku, another down day today again, and it is holding this pivot at the moment, right? But if this pivot gives way, then we could be in this larger ABC correction, which I think we are. When I think we need to come back down to this buy area between 86 to 82, and that would be your buy area right there for Roku. Let's get over here on StarBUX. So StarBUX had earnings recently, actually yesterday, and it gapped open today, a very nice 4.5%. Unfortunately, a huge amount of selling today, huge amount of volume. 26 million shares traded. This trades on average 5 to 10 million shares on average, and so this was pretty big volume. But we'll have to see if this is the top for this wave up. Then in that case, you would have the wave 2 finish up here, which means you're going to start a whole new cycle lower in a wave 3. But for the time being, just looking at the RSI on the daily, the stochastics are reset, but the 4-hour is already started to reset even more. So it's possible that we could go maybe retest these pivots and try to attempt one leg higher. But right now, looking at it, you could force the ABC like so. You could force the A here. Sorry, and now you're coming back down in a B, and then finally get a C. But right now, just looking at it, this move technically was very impulsive. We could get on the smaller time frames to see if we can make 5 ways up. And right now, I cannot make 5 ways up. It's a very difficult chart right now on StarBUX. And just for analysis sake, we could put the wave 2 top here for the time being. So if you were trying to exit, then that was your exit. If not, then you're gonna have to hold, right? And you're gonna have to hold your trade and just hope for the best that the markets recover, which I think they will. I don't think we're gonna get out yet. The market, it will give us a lot of opportunities to get out before it all starts coming down. And actually, the reason the markets came down today was because of New York Banking Corp. I actually have it right here. Let me just head over to my banking stocks. Actually, right here, New York Community Bank Corp gapped down 37% today on loan issues. They actually took a lot of assets from Silicon Valley Bank when they failed. And now they're failing themselves, and they had a lot of outflows on deposits. This is not a small bank too. It's $80 billion in deposits, so customer deposits. So it's pretty significant. So a lot of panic in the banking sector once again. And funny enough, which is really strange, they did not talk about how the financial institutions were strong and resilient as they usually do in the FOMC meeting today. They only covered what they needed to cover, and they did not mention the banks. And the same goes for the reporters. They did not ask any questions regarding the banking sector and the bank that was gapping down 30%, 37% today. So again, this is very odd, very strange thing indeed. Let's continue on the individual names. We'll continue on Tesla. So actually, I'll just do it very quickly on Tesla since we covered it just a bit. So Tesla looks like it's potentially either finished wave 4 or finishing up wave 4. So right now, looking at Tesla, I think maybe you could make one more low right here, or fade the low on B, as this would be an ABC inside of an ABC, and then you finish up in a 5-wave move in wave C up to here, probably fill the gap, and then come back down in a 5th wave. But I mean, we would have to see once we get there. If it doesn't finish lower, then we could have already finished, and we're just gonna head higher from here. Again, I outlined already on the daily that we were in extreme oversold conditions. If we do go lower and the RSI does not go lower, and we don't take out this pivot at 17, that's going to give us kind of an opportunity similar that we got back in December of 2022 when Tesla was selling off massively. You formed a low down here, massive oversold conditions, and then you had a bit of a relief rally. You came back down, you made a lower low, but the RSI had come back so much, right? And the stochastics were already starting to take off that this was your final buying opportunity at 101, and from there on, history shows itself, and you had a 191% rally. Obviously, I'm not saying we're going to have a 191% rally, but I think we would be due for a little bit of a leg higher here. And I think this cycle may not play out to the fullest extent, and it could fail. All right, so that's basically it for Tesla. I like the trade still and selling some cover calls, making those premiums every single week while we're waiting for positions to get into play. Let's take a look at Unity software. Someone requested for Unity software, so we're going to take a look at them. Unity right now, it is technically still holding this pivot here, which tells me that the C leg could still potentially be finished, and it was just a down day in the market in general. But in the case that you do go lower, then you're going to have a buy area between 31 and 26. All right, and I mean, I wouldn't like the C leg to continue like this. This would tell me that this was a 1-2, you're in 3, 4, and then now you're going to continue in a fifth wave lower, which means you're gonna go test this support level here. Okay, let's take a look at the stochastics here. Okay, the 1 hour's reset. 45 minutes should be reset as well. We'll see. We'll see. This one looks like it could be finished already, and you're just getting ready to go higher from there. All right, that's Unity software. Let's take a look at Apple. I think I already covered Apple. Apple's in its third wave here, and then we'll have some support coming in at 182. A 4 hour, I think you're going to get into some oversold conditions already. Lots of panic selling. And then we have earnings tomorrow for Apple and Amazon. So those are two mega cap names, Mag 7 names reporting. So fingers crossed. And let's get over here and take a look at the 20-year yield, the TLT, because the TLT right now got a nice little update today. Even though the March rate cuts have been, technically delayed, and we're going to get them later, and that's why the market was so negative on the news. They're just panicking. Then technically they were still getting rate cuts, so the yields collapsed today. They were down significantly, which means the TLT and TMF were appreciating significantly. So again, TMF up 10% here, and the TLT is up nicely as well. So again, if you guys are in these trades, you are benefiting greatly from them, and you just should hold on to them, because I believe this is your ABC here, and you're coming back down in the C leg in a 5-wave move for the 20-year yield. Okay, that's basically it. Dollar, big reversal today off the lows. Dollar was absolutely tanking, but look at the shorter time frames here. I mean, just on that news on Jerome Powell flipping, saying that we're not going to get those rate cuts, right away. Massive reversal, shot straight up, and look at what the markets did on the 5-minute time frame. They shot straight down. So a bit of an inverse correlation there. Lots of people just trying to get out of markets. They're piling out now. But again, we want people to panic. This is what you want, essentially. You want people to panic out of their positions, sell things that they shouldn't sell, and then once they realize they shouldn't have sold it and the market continues to churn on, then that's when they FOMO back in. You get these big rallies, short squeezes, and then people they lose money still because they panic sold and they shouldn't have. But yeah, don't get me wrong. Eventually, the markets will get into this danger zone. I think this is the danger zone to get to. I think we need to go higher before we ultimately get a very big correction. Weekly has hit resistance here on, not resistance, but it's kind of reached an overbought condition on the RSI, but it can remain there for a long time. The monthly looks like it can go on. So we'll see. We'll take it day by day. Let's head over to Nat Gas. So Nat Gas is getting a little bit of a bounce here today. It was up like 2%. Nothing too crazy. But unfortunately, natural gas is a tough trade right now. It's faded the lows. It had the 20% gap down on the futures. Daily time frame is signaling a green dot. Potential low is in place. So we'll see if tomorrow the Nat Gas storage numbers are good. Then we should get a rally. If not, we're going to get another massive sell-off and panic selling once again. But it's recovering very nicely right now. So I'm still even intrigued into maybe potentially getting into a long that gas once again. But we'll see. I actually am in a short-term long on a Owenda. Let's cover the IWM finally. We'll finish off with the small caps. I'm not going to cover oil today. Nothing really happened for oil, and it still is essentially should be in its way through. IWM. So IWM, I know we've been covering this one as well, and it should keep churning up. But today what we did was invalidate the wave 2 here. So either this is a more complicated correction in a wave 2, right, with an overshooting B wave, which I usually don't like, but they can happen. And you're going to test some lower levels here. So when you do a bit of a fib retrace, then you're probably going to go maybe to the 618 to the 1.236 between this area. So that would be your buy area for the small caps, but just the yields being delayed by a couple of months, maybe. Sorry, the rate cuts being delayed a couple of months. That was enough for the small caps to sell off 2.44%. So very very emotional day for the small cap investors. If this level does not hold, then maybe we've put in a significant top. The wave C could be in. The B wave could be in, and we may not reach this area. But we'll see. We'll stay optimistic for the time being. It ultimately will fail, and then the Russell will fall apart and go to the all-time lows. Probably of 2020, 96, or even 93, or even lower, right? Because the small caps will get obliterated. All right, that's about it here. I don't really have much to add, but stay cautious. It's big news week. We talked about this at the beginning of the week. Very big news week, and data can change things on a dime. And just the market's not realizing that the Fed may hold off on cutting rates was not their idea of a good meeting. So tomorrow I probably expect more panic selling into the beginning of the day, probably subside around lunchtime, and we'll have to see what the market's going to do into the close with Apple earnings and Amazon earnings. And on top of that, today we had the ADP non-farm payrolls, and tomorrow I think we have unemployment claims and some more data as well. So again, stay tuned for that. Hold strong, don't panic, and again, the markets will give us a chance to get out if they have seriously put a significant top in, and we're really getting ready for a bigger crash, right? But again, this is just very small news event. Well, sorry, not very small news event, but it's a big news event. But I don't think it warrants so much panicking. I do agree that markets are overbought, and they are been overbought for a very long time. But I'm not seeing anything on my indicators right now, and I think that the people are still going to buy the dip, and they are going to get ready to buy the dip and FOMO into a final rally. CNBC has been waiting for this opportunity. All these guys have been missing out on these gains. So guess what? They're probably going to be buying on this dip here and defending this area right around 480. If it does not get defended and we don't hold and we just break through, then it's a bigger correction, and we're going to go back down to the 457 to 453 levels in a bigger 1-2 correction, which is this wave right here, right? And then all this was an extension of the wave 1. And I mean, I wouldn't say this is an extension of the wave 1. It could just be an extremely overshooting B wave, but I wouldn't like that at all. That is forcing the chart. And what I would do is probably say that this is the count that we have right now, and we'll go from there. Breaking this downsloping trend line though would signal to me that the market has topped, and any bounce from there should be shorted, and we're going to go much lower in this market. But we'll take it day by day. We're not going to make too many crazy assumptions just yet. All right, have a good night, guys. Peace.